I've been looking at all your Instagram videos today to get like inspiration.
Get my character.
Yeah, I gotta get your character down. So I was like, All right. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ronnie Bachata. I'm here on the Out of the Industry podcast with my girl Celia. Yo, this is a great podcast, guys. You gotta come check it out. Catch me here every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Dale.
I hate you. I hate you so much. Why did I come into this? This is what I came into.
Listen, I gotta spice it up. You thought you were just gonna come here and talk about yourself?
That's exactly what I thought.
No, it's not.
My beard's falling off.
Your beard's falling off. My bad.
I hate.
I can't keep it on. I put eyelash glue and everything. It won't stay. Hey guys, what's going on? We're here with Ronnie Bachata. You already introduced me, but go ahead, introduce yourself.
I already introduced her. Got it. I'm Ronnie Bachata. Been in the industry for over 23 years, I would say, between nightlife and restaurants and hotels and all over the place.
How'd you get started? What was like your first industry job?
So my very first industry, let me actually how I got in the industry. It was funny because I never really thought about it first. I was a promoter, like most people were, right? I was like on the grind. I was the guy putting flyers on cars, sneaking in the parking lot of Cafe Guada Pines. How old were you? Like early, like 20, 21. Sneaking in the parking lot of Cafe Guadas, putting flyers on cars so nobody could see me. I was that guy. You know what I mean? I used to go to a party. Like I used to go out, and every time I went out, I always had friends with me. Anywhere I go, someone that was in the industry was the one that said, "Hey, have you ever thought about like getting paid to do what you do now, which is go out and party and bring your friends, but this time you get paid for bringing your friends." That's how it started. And the very first club that I worked at as a promoter was actually MI6 in Gulfstream. It was only open for about 6 months or so, but that was like the very, very first nightclub I ever worked at.
Do you remember like more or less what year that was?
I was probably like 21, like fresh 21 at MI6 or whatever year that is. I don't like simple math. I went to Piper. So simple math.
No, we all have that Broward education.
So yeah, exactly. So I started as a promoter, getting, hey, somebody with the door. You get $5 for girls, $3 for guys. You get a percentage on bottle sales, like that whole thing.
That's perfect.
Saving them to guest list. And obviously it was part-time. You had to have a full-time job. I wasn't doing it like heavy full-time. But that's how I started in the industry. And then from there, I was approached by to go to Passion Nightclub, which is a friend of mine was already there. He got me under him, and then he left, and then I kind of continued on my own because I was getting paid under him at the time. And then when he left, I kind of continued my own. I was at Passion for about 2 years. Now, I always went to a nightclub called Palladium Nightclub, right? That was like, if you were from Broward or Margate, you went to Palladium Nightclub.
For sure.
Like, rest in peace. I love that. I miss it forever and a day.
There was nothing like it.
There was nothing. To this day, I don't think there's any. To this day, there's no nightclub where you pay one cover. Not only that, Palladium was a place that you pay one cover and you drink free all night. But honestly, that's not even what. If you went there and or worked there, the reason why I missed that place was because that is probably the only nightclub in the world that I can say that you knew every single person in there. You go to a nightclub now, you know a few people, you know the bartenders, you know some, but everyone. Imagine knowing 300 people.
Yeah, it was a neighborhood nightclub.
Correct. That's what I miss about it.
That's the best way to put it. It was a neighborhood nightclub. Yeah. You didn't know about it. Your mom knew about it. It was like you went out on a Friday night and then your mom would go
on the weekend because this Friday was young crowd, Saturday was older crowd.
Exactly.
So when I used to go to Palladium, the owner's son of Palladium reached out to me because he came to Passion. He actually offered me a manager. So Palladium was my first like manager role in nightlife. Before I was just promoting, and then I mentioned Passion and MI6 because I was consistent, but I was kind of dabbling everywhere. If someone was like, "Hey, you want to have a club? You want to promote?" Yeah, sure. And I would like those ones. I was there consistently. I was at Passion for like 2 years, and then I went to Palladium. Palladium though was when I first experienced management. Right, I was the marketing director and I was the front door manager, and I was there for 6 years. So the original owner sold it. Then at that point, I was kind of like off and on. But that's where I really experienced management.
Right? I met you at Palladium, yeah.
You met me at Palladium.
I think when I met you, it was more on your like in and out
time.
You weren't there like full time.
Because I was kind of like trying to like get out of nightlife and get back in because the money was good, and it was like a back and forth. Now, because even though I was in there as management, it was still only Friday Saturday, so I had a full-time job regardless, right? I wanted to learn more like the hospitality and food, and you actually got me my interview first at PF Chang's.
That's right.
And that was you because you were a bartender there. Yeah. And you got my first interview, and that was like my first like real management because the Palladium was manager, but it was 2 days a week. This was like my first, and with no experience, they hired me based on, I interviewed well, you vouched for me, and I got the job at P.F. Chang's, and I was a manager at North Miami, and that was a lot. If you worked in that store, you could work anywhere.
Yo, corporate restaurants are a different animal. People don't realize that. It's a whole. The training process itself was what, 3 months? You had to do.
That was training, I didn't know that was like that. That was the thing. And when you get hired as a manager, but then you're like a manager in training, meaning you're a manager, but you need to be a server, a bartender, a hostess, a cook, a busser. You got to do every position to know every position before. And if you didn't pass those things, you're never going to become you're never going to be your role. You had to stay in
training until you did.
Right. Yeah. That was very nerve-wracking because, mind you, that was my first ever kitchen. I was never even a server. That was my first kitchen experience. I went from a nightclub promoter to a restaurant manager and had no restaurant experience. Why they hired me? I guess I interviewed well. I don't know. Plus you vouched for me, so like it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? So
or they're desperate.
Or I don't know, they were desperate. Maybe that. Maybe they needed somebody. Nobody else wanted to work that store.
No, because that was the
insanity though. But that store was the number one like busiest store, and it was. And trust me, that Miami store. When I tell you about Miami, it wasn't just Miami customers I dealt with. I dealt with Miami staff. My staff was from Miami, and I dealt with them too. It was rough.
You had to deal with a lot.
It was rough. So I had to deal with attitudes from guests and attitudes of the staff. It was rough, right?
It was like being a babysitter and then having to deal with all these people because you were by the mall, right?
Yeah,
the Aventura
right next to it. Yep.
Yeah, no,
it was a lot. It was a great experience. I learned a lot. From there, I went to another restaurant. I started continuing restaurants. I went to Moon Thai and Coral Gables. As I was started as a regular manager. Then I went to GM to the Coral Gables store. I took a big break, and I was just doing the 9-to-5 office job. But I always had this passion for nightlife. I've always enjoyed that. I went to Hard Rock, and then I was a promotions coordinator because I got back into hospitality, but I wanted to kind of like dabble with something else. You know what I mean? Because I knew that I was not built to be behind a desk. I wasn't built for that. I did it. I tried it, and I couldn't do it. I worked in jobs, and my friends were making a lot of money, but they were making money because they loved it. I wasn't making the money because I was not happy doing it. I need to be out with people. People are like, oh, you might be a good salesman. Yeah, but face to face. I don't do phone sales. I need to see people, touch you, feel you. You know what I'm saying? So I went back into hospitality at Hard Rock. Then from there, I was a loyal customer to the Hub. Met the owners of the Hub, and I worked with them. And they offered me a job I started as a VIP host. Again, I was just part time. I was still at Hard Rock for about 5 years, and then I was working as a VIP host. Within 2 months later, I got a random call saying, "Hey, would you be interested in being our GM?"
You were kind of dabbling at Cuba too.
I was at Cuba Libre. It's funny. I was at Cuba Libre. I started my girl, because she's from Philly, so she heard of Cuba Libre. I didn't even heard of Cuba Libre. Oh, they're hiring. I want to get a part-time job as a server. So I went to Cuba Libre just to get another job, and I was doing security or greeter. They called it greeter, and that was where I was kind of dabbling between there and the Hub. And when I was at Cuba Libre, it's funny because I was there as a greeter or security just to make extra income. But I was so involved in more because I just can't do that. So when I was doing it, I was still booking tables, and I was doing more than a security's job. Where they noticed it, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to be like in charge of VIP?" I'm like, "Sure." So like, because I was a security, but I couldn't just do that.
Right.
I couldn't just stand there. I had to get.
That's not you. Yeah. First of all, I don't think you've never been security.
No, not really.
Not technically.
Not technically. I was always like play the role, but I'm not the role, right?
Yeah.
Because even at Palladium, we did parties like we need a security guard. I was just really there in a suit,
right?
But like in case something happened, right? And then from dabbling to both, that's when the Hub offered me a GM position, and I went there full time, and I left Hard Rock entirely because that bar is open 5 days a week. So I'm truly grateful for working there because there was my I did everything. I was the GM, the assistant manager, the bar manager, the busser, the carpenter, the plumber.
Yeah,
I did everything. You know what I mean? So. And I'm grateful for it because that's why I've learned everything that I know today. And I know that for sure. Any success in my career now, I owe it to them.
No, I've always had a great time at the Hub. I mean, I remember when they were still like breaking ground, getting started, and I was like, this is a cool concept. There's nothing like this in Fort Lauderdale. Can you speak on that? Like, what's the update with the Hub?
So as of right now, what they did was they've been open 5 years, right? I was in the last 2.5 years before they closed. And they're closed for the summertime because right now, so summertime is slow season in the industry. And there's a lot of renovations that we want to do and changes because there is a thing of, sometimes you have to change in order to progress. There's so much competition. If you stay the same, so many things are opening up, you have to change.
Yeah, you
can't keep it the same. So in order to do that, the best time to do it is during slow season. It's hard to like try to renovate and remodel when it's so slow and you're not making the revenue. Let's just close the doors, remodel,
Get it done.
and then do a grand reopening, right?
Okay.
And even, I mean, there's other places doing it too. Boatyard closed for the summer as well.
I didn't know.
Club Space Center was closed for the summer.
I knew
So
that.
this is very, Boatyard, I think they just made an announcement of doing it. And I believe Wharf in Fort Lauderdale is going to do it too for like a month or 2 months. So they're already, this is like a thing in the industry because like this is probably the best time. Instead of opening the doors and spending so much money to be open, let's just close the doors. All you got to pay now is just rent, not staff, not labor, and everything else, and take the money and remodel it and do a grand reopening. So that's what the hub is doing right now.
You guys have ballpark like when that'll be done?
So I think the goal would be 2 or 3 months max. But I think, anything can happen. Things happen, but that's like the goal. But yes, the hub is reopening because people say, "Oh, is it just?" No, they're going to reopen. It's just there's a timeline as far as the right time to do it. You know what I mean? So we don't want to tell the public to, we're going to be open by August, and then God forbid we can't. It's just we'll be open soon. There's if you go to the door, they even put a decal that says it like
we're under renovation.
Under renovations, please stick around for that. So
okay, cool.
It's gonna be. I've seen some of the renders. I've seen some of the designs, and it's gonna be dope. And that place where it's at, the location, that area is growing too. So
for sure, Fat Villages.
There's a lot of skyrise condos gonna be up. It's gonna be like the movie Up, like the little building we're surrounded by.
Oh yeah,
all these buildings, like literally.
They're gonna be the little house.
That's literally like the movie Up.
For Halloween, you guys should do a bunch of balloons on top.
Yeah, right. I'm actually kind of dope. That's such a good idea. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm going back to the hub or not. Right now, as of right now, like obviously I have to find a job, so I'm just working and doing a couple things until I figure out my staff. But I whether I go back or not, I wish them much success.
So I mean, you and I are friends, and we've talked about this in a couple of our group chats. You are thinking about like starting to put like a brand on your name, like
correct.
You do emceeing at weddings and stuff too,
right? So Ronnie Bachata was always like a nickname. When I got in nightclubs and I was a promoter, everyone had a nickname. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Candyman. I didn't know his name until a year ago. I've known the guy for 10 years.
Yo, that's so funny. I found out his name was Angel Rivera like 3 days ago.
Yeah, like a year ago. I'm like, I don't know who's this guy. And it's funny. Speaking of him, like I think I like someone who's like, oh, I want to go to their nightclub. Who could you know someone? Yeah, I know my boy Candyman. And I say it's so normal because for me, Candyman sounds like George. It's so natural to me. Oh, they want boy Cam. They're like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, that's like his promo name. I have to like catch myself because to me it sounds like it's normal to me. It's like George. That's what I'm like.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't hear it as like a nickname, right?
Yeah.
But that's what. So in the industry, I've heard Mike Mohawk and all these things, like all these crazy names people had, and I was just Ronnie. And bachata was a nickname that was kind of like thrown at me because I love to dance bachata. And I was out, I dance. When they say I dance well, I don't want to shoot on horn yet. I have to say they say I dance well.
Who dubbed you the bachata part? Do you remember who actually did that?
No, I think it started actually like the beginning of like Passion era, because Passion is where it happened. I didn't have the Ronnie Bachata yet. I came as Ronnie, right? Everyone had his nickname, so people were like, oh yeah, Bachata. Oh, look at the Bachata man. It was like that, like the Bachata guy. Because I was always like doing my things, right?
Right.
So then I said, you know what? Let me do. I didn't want just bachata, so I was like Ronnie Bachata, and I thought it had a good flow. Mm-hmm. And then I was concerned, though. I believe it or not, I was concerned because I didn't want to be targeted to just a Latin nightclub promoter at the time, because I didn't know where I was going to go. So I didn't want to be like, if someone on Ronnie Bachata, they assumed I'm only Latin. I wanted to just work. I would work anywhere. But believe it or not, the funny story. I think I went to Hooters one time. I remember I went to Hooters at Beach Place, and I was out with my boys, and now they're introducing me as, now in the industry, you're meeting people with that name, and they're introduced to you with that name, right? Okay. So people are like, oh, this is my boy Ronnie Bachata, and it was a bunch of like Americans. They're like, oh, Ronnie Bachata, like bachata, like the dance. I was like, yeah, bachata, like the dance. So I was like, all right, they know what bachata. They're not like, what's that? Now the funny part of that, to this day, I still have people that believe that's my true last name. I'm like, dude, you think I was that lucky? You think I was that blessed to be called Ronnie Bachata? Like, I wish, no? And then people are like, oh, why don't you legally change it? Like, yeah, right, my father would come out of his grave and kill me.
No.
I couldn't change my last name legally. I would never do that.
No, never.
My social media, though, I do have, like, as my middle name. So Ronnie Bachata and then my real last name. Yeah. I do like that to keep it because, like I said, I just have respect to my family. Of
course, that's a family thing. Yeah. You can't take your family.
At one point, I wanted to get out of nightlife. Right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I want to get away from the stigma, the Ronnie Bachata, right?
Is this your real estate era?
So during that time, a little bit, right? All right. And then I changed my name on social media to my real name. And someone said, when it comes to I laugh because it's so funny. He goes, who the hell is this dude? Who the fuck is this guy? And I said, oh, stop. You like,
not the Bachata, they don't know who you are.
As a comment, he's like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, bro, no, I'm trying to get away from that. I'm going to go my real name. It's like, bro, I don't care how old, I don't care how long. Puff Daddy is called P. Diddy. He's not P. Diddy. He's Puff Daddy for life. You're Ronnie Bachata forever. That's literally exactly what he said. Now I want to turn it into I make it into a brand, like you said. So I do MC on the side, which I'm trying to start my company now, like an entertainment company. It's right now I'm coming up with just me, but I eventually want to do where if people hit me up, I got DJs, I got staff, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But right now I host weddings, I host I've done slot drawings up at the casino. I've also done auctions, which was very different.
Yeah, you've always had a great voice. You project it well, and I've never really seen you like MC like at the casino and stuff. I mean, I've seen the clips that you put up on your Instagram, but you sound good on the mic.
And it's funny because I in a perfect world, my dream has always been TV radio personality. Right? I will do that for free. That's how much I would love to do it. Mm-hmm. I'd love to entertain. It's like a bittersweet. When every time I do an event and some random person comes up to me and says, "Oh my God, you sound amazing," it kind of like gets me happy and sad because I'm like, damn, I want to do this full time. People tell me how good I am.
Shit, this might be your break right here.
Time. You know what I'm saying? Like
this might be your break, Ronnie. I had you on first, the podcast. I was like, yo, these are like the baby steps. This is the origin story here. It was just like, I want to be on TV and somebody might see this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Maybe, hopefully.
You never know.
See, you know.
I've been said throw him on here.
I know. I wasn't sure. We had a conversation about that. I was like, to be honest, I thought you should. I thought my shit was whack, so if you wanted to come on.
No, man, get out of here. No, so I always wanted to do a podcast. I just don't know how to start. And I guess also I don't have the time, so because you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I knew that I wouldn't be. So when I knew you doing it, I didn't want to. I'm not gonna lie to you. I always wanted to be on your podcast, but I didn't want to sound like I didn't want to be like the guy like, hey, can I be on it? Like I don't want to ask. Can I be on it? Can I be on it? So I was like, let me just be cool about it.
I feel like it happened when it needed to. You're like right now where you got time on your hands. Yeah. I'm just like, shit, come through, let's do it. You know. So we do have a topic this episode. Ron, I was like, how do you think people like when people are in the industry and they date people who are in that same industry, and it's not just like the nightclub, restaurant type industry. Because, for example, like my cousin's a firefighter. All of his firefighter friends are pretty much either firefighters as well or nurses.
Yeah.
They're all in the same kind of industry. Mm-hmm. So I feel like with people who are in the hospitality industry, you know, you're dealing with late nights, crazy sleep schedules. It's just like, how can people actually find, you know, love? Like they say, oh, South Florida is the worst for dating. But because so many people are in the hospitality industry, I think that has to do with it too. What's your take on that?
So I will say, believe it or not, the funny thing about it is that I'm actually one of the few that most of my close friends are not in the industry, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think mainly why, to be transparent, is because a lot of the industry is like, when you're not working, you're really partying hard. And I was never that guy because I always had like a regular job the next morning, right? Mm. So like when people go out after work and go on benders, I never like did that. I never did a bender before.
Right.
And I feel like those are people that in the industry, they kind of stick together, right? All my friends are software engineers or lawyers or CEOs, and it's in my closest friends I grew up with. They were not in the industry. Now I have some friends that are, but I guess I like to party, but I was never a party animal to like extent Monday through Friday. And I feel like in nightlife industry, a lot of people that are like friends like that, that's what they do. Like I see with social media at SLS pool party, and they went out, but they wore just the last night. You know, it's crazy.
That's actually one of the points I wanted to hit. It's just like, all right, how does it look for two people who work in the hospitality industry? How does their date night look? Do they have a date night in, or do they have a date night out? It's just like the last thing I want to be like. I've been a bartender, and you know, my partner's been a bartender. It's like the last thing we want to do or be at is be at a crowded bar, crowded restaurant, or a crowded club because we're there 5 times. That's our full-time job.
I get it. But you know what's funny about me? That I do love going out, right? I enjoy going out. Maybe not the benders, but I enjoy going out. And you know why? I've always been a dancer, number one, right? Like as the name, we went by bachata. I love Latin clubs. And one thing about me that I hate, that for the longest time, my job has been to make sure you have a good time. And I don't have a good time. I'm busy there to make sure you're having a good time.
Yeah.
I want to have a good time now.
So you can't turn that work switch off when you're out.
And that's another thing too. It's hard because when I'm getting bad service out somewhere, it's even worse. And my fiance, she's in the service industry too. Mm-hmm. And she's even worse than I am because she's always been a server in the industry. So
she's always cleaning.
I've
been out with you guys. She's always cleaning.
And the thing about me, let's say, for example, I have a good meal, but the service was bad. I'll still go back. She won't. She's more like, nah. service was bad. I'm like, maybe it's just that person. She's a little bit more extent because but I understand the difference. I think the difference that I've been in management and she's been as a server. So she's looking at it like it's your job to give good service no matter what.
Right.
And I'm looking at it that, yeah, but sometimes people have bad days, and I kind of understand because I have staff that come in, they're having a bad day, but I know they're good servers. It's just today they did bad. So that's why I look at it like that.
That's fair. I mean,
I look at it like that, like she might be just having a bad day out, but may not be a bad server, right?
Okay.
So if the food is bad,
no, that's different.
I can't. I can't. You know, if the food is bad, the drinks are bad, if the music is trash, then that's different. Doesn't matter how the grade was served. I'll make sure I take care of her or him, but because they did a good job, but the establishment. But when I'm not working, when the days I'm not working, I want to go out dancing because all I do is work at clubs and make sure you have a good time, and I'm not having a good time.
Yeah, it's like my turn to disconnect and have
that's
fun.
right. I want to now be a customer. So I want to be a customer once in a while. I enjoy people having a good time in my establishment, and I'm a part of that, right? But I'm also thinking about 400 things too.
Yeah, you're in work mode.
Like I'm literally talking to a customer the other day. I remember like it was yesterday. I was talking to a customer, and as I'm talking to him, I'm like kind of, hey, I'm talking to him like, listen, I'm talking, I hear you, but my head's always on a swivel. I'm at work. I have to pay attention to everything around me. So I'm focused on you, but I'm still everything I'm doing. I tell my girl all the time, hey babe, if you ever come when I'm working, don't come by yourself because I don't have time to stay with you and hang out with you. Make sure you come with friends because I don't have time to hang out with you all night. I'm gonna be leaving you a lot. I don't want to feel bad. So
makes sense.
That's a thing that I have an opportunity to have a good time myself every once in a while. So it's good. I enjoy it.
But that goes back to that point. She's in the hospitality industry. She knows how this runs and all that. And, you know, I was thinking about it when we were like trying to think about this topic last night. I was like, you imagine going home and you had like a bad day at work and it's just like, I want to vent to my partner because like naturally that's what you do, right? But it's like, imagine going home and, you know, trying to explain to your partner what a silent well is or what like, oh, the tickets were hitting the floor and they'll stop you like, what tickets? And it's like, oh my God, this is more frustrating than anything. I'm trying to rant to you about my day, but you have no idea what I'm talking about. You know?
It's true. So I will say it definitely is easier. Don't get me wrong. When I take work home, she hates it. Industry or not. She hates it. And there are sometimes that I'm guilty of it, but I can't turn it off.
You got to know how to hang that shit up.
Sometimes I'm still upset about something that happened, whatever the case may be, right? And I bring it home and that's a bad thing too. But being in the industry, she kind of understands a little more, but I have dated women that didn't understand and they're just hearing my story, but I know their mind is blank.
Yeah.
They're just being nice. They're being nice. Like, oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the three compartment sink wasn't working. Whatever that means.
We ran out of the eco powder.
Yeah.
Like, what is
that?
I
know. Exactly. You know? I call it Eco Lab. And they're like, they can't come tomorrow. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes it easier to take on industry because they do understand that I have long hours and late hours. And I will be home at 4 a.m. They get that, right? Obviously, the sleep schedule is messed up. So for me to give her time is sometimes can be affected.
That's what I'm saying.
Because when I am off, I'm exhausted and I'm trying to catch on my sleep. So that's finding that balance is where it can make or break someone. You know what I mean? Find that balance.
Like imagine dating someone, you work the whole Saturday shift. What time did you get home on a Saturday night? Like after a Saturday night at the hub?
4 or 5 in the morning. Because I'm closing and then how long people take to clean up or you leave. Sometimes people want to stay after all. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning.
All right. Imagine her wanting to go to brunch on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. I need to catch up with my sleep. So it's just like when people aren't in the industry or when people don't understand that or aren't in the industry, it's really hard to date because it's just like they can't understand it. It's just like, oh, are you too tired? It's like, I actually am. I need to sleep. I think on top of that, I think it's on both sides, both men and women. They get triggered by maybe if they're not that confident with themselves. You're working in a nightclub setting, for example. You're around beautiful people constantly, whether it's staff or clients or, or customers. And then it's just like, you have to be hospitable. You have to be that extra like, hey, how's it going? And maybe even take pictures with people and stuff like that. And someone who's insecure, they'll be like, yo, I don't like you flirting or you look like you're flirting. They could take it and twist it and turn it if they don't come from that type of industry or they haven't worked in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
So it's just like, have you ever dealt with anything like that? You're like your past.
So I saw it, especially when in nightlife, let's be honest, sex sells, right? I have to hire the pretty girl. I have to hire someone as a pretty girl more than the experienced girl, which sucks, but it is what it is, right? That's the industry of nightlife, right? Imagine like Now I hire this girl. I'm talking. Imagine you're my girlfriend. I hired this new girl. She's great. Blah blah. She's actually doing a great job. And I'm just talking about. Then she comes, sees this girl's a 10 out of 10. The girl was just bragging about, but I wasn't thinking of it like bragging about a hot chick.
Yeah.
I was bragging about a girl that I hired who was actually doing a great job. And then they see that they forgot everything I said.
Yeah.
That all they saw was hot chick now. Now they're like, oh, really? So that's the girl you were bragging about. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's not like
it's
that.
like, no, I'm just saying that I hired someone, they're doing a great job. My life is easier, right? But of course, they're thinking something otherwise. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest with you. I've everywhere I've worked, I had my fiance come in as like a server. And trust me, and I worked in places where she had to be half naked, dressed a certain way. And as not only the GM, but I'm also her boss and I'm her man, right? So, and I've been in situations, I'm guilty of it, where I even got a little jealous, seeing customers talk to her a certain way. And here's the worst part. Like they're talking her ear, hand on the back, and I'm watching, but here's the worst part. I have to just step back as her manager and let her do her job. Mm-hmm. But, and if let's say I see some kind of disrespect, I also have to be careful that I don't intervene like a boyfriend or a husband or a fiance. I have to come in as still her manager. So I'm still in that position. So if a guy disrespects her, I have to come in and put my manager hat on. I can't be the man.
Don't touch my girl.
Don't touch my girl, because that now is bad for business. Mm-hmm. And that was hard. But her and I work very well together. I'm blessed by that. But I'm guilty because I'm human, and I'm guilty of she's a beautiful woman, and if other people probably think she is too. So I have to. I'm guilty of being a little jealous, and even in the industry, it's messed with me.
I've seen it working in restaurants, bars. However, when your staff starts dating each other, it can get very tricky as well. That can get messy.
And I hate it, actually. I hate it because two things. One, well, the main thing is I've seen couples fight right there for everybody, and it's the worst. Like, and the worst is if you lose one, you might lose both.
Yeah.
If one guy they take vacation, they both got to take vacation. You know what I mean? So like, but to go more on the negative side is like the arguments when you see that they're fighting. Yeah. You can tell.
They can't have that on and off switch. We're at work. Mm-hmm. Let's not act up. Like, right. Leave that shit for when the lights are up, or when we're in the car, or when we're on at home. I pulled up at work with her, and I've had to be like, listen, I know we had a little blah, but now we're going to work. But let's get through it. If you want to ignore me. Like I had to say, if you want to ignore me, but that's fine. But it is what. But I'm like I said, I'm guilty of it too in management, where everything she's doing is pissing me off, and it's not even that big of a deal. I'm still mad about something else. I'm still mad about like something else. Yeah, you brought whatever happened at home.
She was 4 seconds late for bringing the drink, and I'm like yelling, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? So I have to check myself. But no, it's couples dating each other in the industry. It sucks. Obviously in a lot of corporate jobs, they don't really allow that, or there's a fine line with that.
There's definitely rules with that. But it's just like, I think it's usually with the hierarchy. So like managers can't date servers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like if they're in the same job title, they're good. Like servers and servers.
But you can't, your partner can be your superior, basically.
Right.
Corporate. Right. Now, and obviously some nightclubs like the one I worked at, that wasn't the case, right? I was, so it was sole ownership. So it wasn't so corporate. Yeah. But I have worked places where that's a thing. And in the industry, I'd be lying to you if I say it's kind of hard, especially if you're a single guy or a single girl and you're at work every day with these people. You see so many people and you get to know each other. It's hard, especially in that industry. You're at work more than home.
Absolutely. Those people become closer to you sometimes than your own. You see them more than your own family.
And restaurant life. When I was at P.F. Chang's, I was working there like 50, 55 hours a week. And that's probably the one time that I will say that every relationship I was in at P.F. Chang's, none of them lasted.
Yeah.
Because my work-life balance wasn't there. And I was working so long, and relationships wouldn't work because I'm there 12, 13 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week. And, she wants to go out on Friday night. I can't. I got to work. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, especially Sunday.
That's you want to go on Sunday? You guys don't have weekends. No, you don't have holidays. That doesn't exist.
On a Sunday, the busiest day of restaurant life? Yeah. No, I can't go out. I'm sorry. So it's definitely, data center industry is definitely easier. It's not easy, but it's easier. And so that's not. Because then one day they're more understanding.
They're more understanding, might even be a little more flexible. You might even work the same type of crazy hours. And it's just like, it's a thing. It's like, hey, we go to work at 8 p.m. We're coming home at 4 a.m. We'll sleep. And then tomorrow at 2 p.m. is when I say good morning to you. I mean, I think that whole having that rule, it just entices people to do it even more. They're just going to do it more sneakily is all. Yeah. I think in all, it's just, yes, it's easier to date someone who's in your industry. And that, like I said, it's not just club industry, just like how I gave the firefighter, nurse, example, but I think it is easier. Even if they're not service, like DJs as well.
Yeah.
DJs, waitresses, bottle girls, anybody who's in that realm. Floor guys. I mean, I know floor guys who they found their wives and they were dancers.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's crazy. Yeah.
It is, but it's true. It's happened. It's happened, and it's because it's just like we're in the same industry. I spend more time here than I am outside. I'm always sleeping. I don't go out on weekends when usually people go out on weekends to go meet a potential partner or maybe go out on a date. It's like I'm at work.
It's definitely a lot easier. Not easy, but a lot easier, 100%. Because it is hospitality life is not. It's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. You have to really love it, have a passion for it to do it, especially the hours that's required. Don't ask me like holidays are gone. Once I say yes to a job, I already know holidays are gone, weekends are gone. That's it. And you can't sign up for this job. You can't stop hospitality and say, oh, but I need every Christmas off and every New Year's off. No, you're going to be there. Yeah. When I was at Hard Rock, I was at Hard Rock for 3 years in a row when the ball dropped. I had no choice.
I spent so many years at work or behind a bar watching the ball drop with the little Times Square thing going on. It's just like, yay, Happy New Year. Let's go back to cleaning the bar, or whatever.
You have to do it. Once you sign up for it, that's it. If you want a little bit more freedom in those days, that's not for you. So you have to really enjoy this business.
Yeah, I think the fact that your girl or your fiance being in the hospitality industry really helps you guys. And then also it's just like you're a very big personality. You like to entertain and all that. She understands that. She knows where you come from. And I think that dynamic works like so well for you guys.
Yeah.
Are you excited for your wedding?
Yeah, I am. It's stressful. I don't wish wedding planning on anyone. Okay.
Yeah. No.
It's not. We're getting married in March. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I will say also it's another level of testing our relationship. And you think, oh, now this is happy time. No, like it's literally testing us now, another level now.
It's already starting.
Right? It's already starting the idea. We're already planning what we're going to do after we get married, how our lives are going to change a little bit during things. It's exciting. I just want to be done already, I guess. I want to hurry up. Yeah. But 100%, it's a lot. It's a lot.
All right. Well, I will be present at that wedding. It's gonna be Yo, can I make an episode out of it? We might film a little bit.
You can do whatever you want.
Ronnie Bachata.
You can do whatever you want.
I'll put the goatee back on and everything.
It's on camera. She is invited. I can't take it back now.
You were never gonna take it back.
I'm never taking it back. And behind the scenes, yeah, invited. And behind 100%. These are my OGs. So
yeah. All right. Cool. So I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Cool.
It's just some quick ones that
I'm not ready.
We're gonna pick Ronnie's brain a little bit here, just see how he feels. All right. All right. Rapid fire. Coffee or tea?
Coffee all day.
How you say coffee?
Coffee.
Right.
Sorry.
Your go-to karaoke song?
Backstreet Boys. Oh my God, what's the name of it?
I want
You are my fire.
Oh, I did not
expect that. Every time that song, it hits.
I did not expect that. I swore I was like, he's gonna say some Mobb Deep shit or something.
No, sir. The rule of karaoke though is because you want to sing something that everyone's gonna enjoy. If I do Mobb Deep, yeah, I know every song lyric front to back, but no one's gonna enjoy that. They only the two guys from New York are gonna understand that.
That's true.
So you gotta really do it, engage, and bring the crowd and make a show.
So you actually pick Backstreet Boys?
Always, and I would try to find one of my friends to do the duo. But if I'll do both parts. That's my go-to every time.
All right, you might need your phone for this one. What was your last Google search?
I'm gonna find out right now. My last Google search was, reviewing with iRobot. That's also a robot. It's a vacuum and mop.
God damn, you really are getting married, yo.
Legit, it's still on the screen.
You talking about the robot shark vacuum thing?
Yeah, the Roomba. I was comparing the i3 versus the i7.
Wow.
And it's still on it. That's hilarious. It's still on it.
Money or happiness?
Happiness.
All right. Whiskey or rum?
Whiskey, always.
Okay. Juan Luis Guerra or Frank Reyes?
Juan Luis Guerra early. Our wedding song.
No, don't ruin that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I mean, I know what it is.
Juan Luis Guerra all day.
All right, bet. All right, if you could have a superpower, what would you want to have?
Ooh, that's a good one. Have a superpower, what would I be? Is time travel go back in time?
I think so.
I don't know, or flying. Okay. Even though I'm afraid of flying planes but if I'm flying, I'm controlling it. That's why.
Do you have a thing on planes?
I have a fear of flying. The flying is okay. It's the part. I don't want.
Okay. Nobody wants that.
So every time I fly, I have to either drink sleeping pills or drink a lot of beers so I can fall asleep. I have to sleep.
Oh.
Any little shake, I shit myself.
Even like a.
Any shake, takeoff and landing is where it gets me. Takeoff and landing is where I
Okay.
have a heart attack.
Have you experienced turbulence?
Yeah, of course. And that's where it's.
Were
I
you
didn't have
alright?
to. I was freaking out. My friends make fun of me all the time. They make fun. They have the camera every time we take trips. They have the camera ready for me to go.
Damn.
When it takes off. If there was, would you have who these enemies who have friends like those guys?
Yeah,
right?
I mean those are
But,
good friends. All right.
You know,
All right.
somebody had a
That would be
crash,
your superpower,
Yeah.
flying.
flying
All right, cool. Or time travel.
or time travel.
Got it. Favorite subject in school?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it was my favorite subject in school was probably history. Because I just thought it was kind of dope hearing.
Same. I liked history,
Yeah.
and if you pay attention, it repeats itself.
Yeah, I think it was just dope.
Name an onomatopoeia.
Oh man, can we define onomatopoeia again?
I was gonna say.
Can we define onomatopoeia? What is happening? I can't even spell onomatopoeia. I'm still learning how to spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm still trying to
An
figure it out.
onomatopoeia is a word that you can hear. So like splash, you can almost hear like a splash,
Oh,
or like a roar, roar.
oh, you know what? I can hear the red ball for kickball in elementary school.
Oh, for sure. There's
you
no
hear?
way,
I hear that ball. I
Yeah.
see the ball. I hear it.
There's no way to even like describe that sound. But yeah, I know exactly.
I know. I see that ball and I hear it.
There you go. That's an onomatopoeia.
Boom! I
You
learned
learned
something
something.
today.
You
That's
did.
a good answer.
You learned something today. All right, and then my final question is: do you wear socks when you wear loafers, or are you a real Dominican?
I wear no-shows. I always wear socks, but I wear no-shows. Yes, I wear no-show socks. Oh my God! Not all Dominicans wear no socks. Now, I have been guilty of wearing those socks if the socks I'm wearing shows, because I don't want to see it. So there's different kinds of levels of lower and higher no-shows. So and some loafers are lower profile.
right.
So if
You gotta pull out the low ones.
if the low, and if I can't find them or they're showing even a little bit, I don't wear them at all. That's the only time. But I do wear socks. No-show socks.
All right, we got that clear, guys.
Done.
We got that clear.
That's so messed up.
From the audience back here.
Yes.
Um,
Go ahead, Director.
so is it bang out or pong pong?
It's gong gong. You know,
Yeah.
come on. You know why? It's the sound. Gong 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 gong
Pero
gong.
está pegado.
No, I get it. It's stiff. I get it. It's stiff. But the sound it makes is gong 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 gong. When you scrape the way,
Scraping it off.
that's just gong gong.
I guess
It's
that's an
right.
onomatopoeia. Hey!
Onomatopoeia, gong gong.
Gong gong.
It's gong
Damn, we
gong.
might have to go with gong gong. I think it just
Yeah,
shows
it's the
that.
sound that you made. That's why it's gong gong. Gong gong
Yeah, it's
gong.
not pegado. Puerto Ricans lose on that. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it's stiff. I get it. Oh,
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. That's our time. Ronnie, thank you so much for finally getting on
no,
the
thank you for
podcast.
having me. I feel like my 15 minutes of fame is, I think, we're 15 seconds of fame.
This is at least 30 minutes of
30,
content, bro.
at least 30 minutes. Oh, let's get it. No, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's an honor to be here, and I'm proud of you.
Thank
This is dope. A lot of people want to do this, and they don't execute it, and you're doing it, and
Yeah.
good for you, man.
Yeah.
honestly.
I'm doing it in my own little way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
We're gonna call this one Between Two Fedoras. I had to just put it out there, you know. He inspired me to wear my fedoras.
There you go.
Dust it off
Listen,
today.
fedoras is the thing.
Yeah, nah. My boy got style. Y'all check him out. This is his Instagram page right here, Ronnie Bachata. Don't you forget it.
We're at right here.
Yeah, we'll somewhere over
Somewhere over here.
Yeah.
In this vicinity.
in this here. I think I'll put like a box right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Between Two Fedoras. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow, all the things. See you soon. Peace out.
Base.